Oh! Oh! It just got absolutely smashed. There's no accusations, just friendly crustaceans under the sea. Welcome back to Concept Soup, and why am I singing about being under the sea? That's because today's video is the JCPC submarine PC build. And why do we call it the submarine? That's because our components are underwater. What does that mean? Stop being cryptic. You gump wearing the Huel shirt. What are you talking about? It's a PC build, guys. It's Concept Soup. We do loads of PC builds, alright? So, we're talking about a nice high-end machine. We have the Ryzen 7 5800X with a 360mm liquid cooler. Yeah, that's liquid. What's new? We've also got, though, a pretty sweet graphics card. This is the EVGA XC3 Ultra Hybrid RTX 3080, right? What does that mean? Hybrid. What are you talking about? It's a video card that has a 240mm AIO attached, a liquid cooler. And that's going to promise us some low temperatures, or so we assume, and we will see in the video whether that is actually true. But I thought it was a pretty interesting proposition. So we're not going for a custom loop. These are two AIOs, one to cool the CPU, one to cool the graphics card. So let's see how we get on with this build today. That's going to be coming right up, but that's after the sponsor spot, so stick around, sweet cheeks. So today's sponsor, as always, is JCPCcustoms.com, where you can buy the very same gaming PCs that you see built up here on the channel. You can choose from our pre-built selection, which are unique, one-of-a-kind designs, or you can go to our configuration page where you can configure the spec up yourself. And if you still don't see something you want, you can directly get in touch with us to get a bespoke quote made only for you. Why would you choose us over other people? You're getting really good build quality. All the PCs are built by me here in the studio, so that you know that there's no production lines, no cut corners. You know it's being done in a professional way where things just aren't going to go wrong. As long as you live in the UK, we can pretty much ship these anywhere as long as it's sort of mainland. We use DPD to send them out. We pack the inside with Instapack. It's all secure with no problems. And we set them up free of any bloatware. So absolutely no Norton antivirus, no ball guard, none of this rubbish. It's just a PC as if you'd had an enthusiast build it for you, which is pretty much what it is. So go and check out jcpccustoms.com and check it out, and you'll be able to see this very same build there for sale if you do want it. And we've also sometimes got video cards for sale as well, so it is worth checking out. Occasionally we've got other components like power supplies as well, sometimes. But that's the plug over. Let's get on with the video, and it's going to be a fun one today. So, like with any PC build, it's always handy for us to go through the spec and a brief explanation of why we used each part. So the processor is of course the big calculator of the computer, pretty much does a lot of the heavy lifting here. The processor is the Ryzen 7 5800X, which is 8 cores and 16 threads with a pretty decent boost speed and a pretty decent IPC to boot. The 5800X gets a bit, a bit of a slamming in the media because it's fairly expensive for what it is in some respects, but the thing is, it's a really, really good CPU, and I think this is the gaming CPU to have because you've got all 8 cores on a single CCD, so you're not having that intercore latency between chiplets like you get with the higher end Ryzens. You're getting really fast speeds, and you're not paying the Ryzen 9 prices either. So it's a real sweet proposition. And those, a lot of people say 6 cores is enough, which is, to an extent true, but having those 2 extra cores means you've got plenty of room to have other things open whilst you're gaming. If you want to do a bit of YouTube, video, all that kind of stuff, or a bit of streaming, having that extra horsepower on side is really handy. So that's why we went with that today. Now to cool that, we have the Cooler Master ML360L RGB, 360mm liquid cooler, so that means 3 fans, and you're going to need a lot of cooling because these Ryzens, the 7s and 9s, they do get pretty hot And part of that is to do with the way they're designed. They will just continue to boost the voltage and the speeds until they hit around 80 degrees. So that's pretty much how they work. The 360mm liquid cooler is going to be giving us the best shot at keeping those temperatures down. The motherboard is the MSI B550 Tomahawk. Now, I'm sure you've heard of the Tomahawk if you're into the PC space. It's just a really well-respected board, and this one is no exception. Actually, really well priced at the moment as well. It's going to put loads of X570 boards to shame with its power delivery quality. It's got really good features as well. I think this is overall just a really, really good board. Most people do not need X570. There's very few reasons why you'd want X570. Really, the only one is if you've got multiple PCIe Generation 4 SSDs, for example. That might be a reason why you want X570. But for everyone else, B550 is the way to go, definitely. For the memory, we have 32 gigabytes of Crucial Ballistics DDR4 3600 CL16. I think maybe pictured is a different set of RAM, perhaps, but this is the one we were able to get work today, and it's really, really fast. 3600 speed, CL16. This is pretty nice RAM, set it and forget it, fast speeds, really nice, and 32 gigs is giving you that premium experience that you definitely want from a high-end system like this. For the storage, we have the Crucial P5 1TB NVMe SSD. The reason I chose the P5 is because it's DRAM buffered, which gives it a bit of performance. It's pretty decent speeds, it's not like top-end speeds, and just generally it's well priced considering the performance that you're getting from it. It's a really good balance of all of that. The video card, as we alluded to earlier, was the EVGA XC3 Ultra Hybrid RTX 3080, so that's the one with the liquid cooler attached to it. So we're going to be checking that out as well. The case we're using today is the Cooler Master TD500 Mesh Black. Now you might be confused because in the background you see a Fantex P400A. Yeah, I did consider using the P400A, but there was just not enough room to mount all these coolers, so we went with the TD500 instead, which was a good choice. Power supply, we went with the Corsair RM850. Can you get away with a 750 watt on this kind of system? Yeah, absolutely. But having the 850 just means that if there's any sort of power spikes or anything like that coming from the video card, then you're going to be able to handle those with no trouble, and it's going to run more efficiently as well. The Wi-Fi is one of our favourites at the moment. It's the Kudi AX3000, which is a Wi-Fi 6 and with Bluetooth card. Really nice. It's really good speed. You're not really going to get much better than this. And one of the key things, it's got a really good antenna with it as well. The big chunky long antennas. We've got a few case fans in here as well. So there's 3 RGB that come with it. With the case, and we've also chucked an Antec P12 RGB in the back as well for the full RGB coverage. And then we finished it all off with custom sleeved black cabling, which you can actually buy from JCPCcustoms.com if you like. The difference with this one is you don't have to clip the clips on yourself. We do the custom sleeve cabling with the clips all the way around it, so regardless of whether you're bending it up or bending it underneath the graphics card, you're always going to have 360-degree coverage with the cable combs. And we can do any color as well, so it's not just black. You know, you could do rainbow, we could do blue and white, we could do pink, whatever. So it's one to look into on jcpccustoms.com if you like, but I'll stop plugging that now. So that's a spec. Let's do a build. And as always, we're going to have a bit of the gaming, and then we're going to be getting into some of the chat through the temperatures, what we thought of the build, and we'll go from there. We're just going to keep it light and breezy. See you on the other side, baby. Typing it up in the Fortnite. We are dropping straight to Pleasant Park for a nice hot drop. Let's get this testing over with, baby. Baby. Yeah. That's a headshot. Oh, get out of here. Thanks. Oh! Just got absolutely smashed.
Just us now. Enemy down.
People that still do this shit, man. The save scumming. Not save scumming, what's it called? Respawn scumming. What on earth is going on? Sneak attack. Oh, it's a single fire. I thought it was an automatic. Oh, criminies. So first up, I suppose I had better apologise for not being able to get you a Battle Royale win this week. I am very, very deeply sorry. Just wasn't on the cards this time. But nice performance, wasn't it? Real nice. And keeping an eye on those temperatures. Ooh, they were lovely and low, weren't they? Really, really, really nice indeed. Oh, and did you see my snipe in Fortnite? Come on, I sniped that guy flying in. That was pretty dang sweet. Well, I think it was this clip. Anyway, whatever. There were some good shots in that one overall. So let's go through some of the other tests that we did. So we did temperature test, Prime 95, which is our absolutely hammering the CPU and memory. It's completely unrealistic, but it's going to give us it's like a survival test basically. Is this machine going to survive in the worst case scenario? So our maximum CPU temperature for this one was 90 degrees Celsius. That's pretty much bang on exactly what I would expect from this kind of system, this kind of setup with the Ryzen CPU. So no problems there. Equilibrium, if you say the word, contract suit. Equilibrium temperature is ignoring all the big spikes that you get with Prime 95, and that was about 79 degrees C, and that's pretty nice as well. That's, again, pretty much typical for a Ryzen system. That's what I would expect. Now, in gaming, the CPU was between 65 and 70 degrees, and that's a pretty nice operating temperature for gaming, because that's going to give you enough room for that precision boost overdrive in the Ryzens to take hold. But the video card, man, the video card temperature test, this is where it gets real interesting, and I was very impressed. So we use OCCT, which is overclock checking tool. And we run the 3D, it's called 3D, and it rinses the graphics card with 100% usage. We leave that going for 30 minutes, but we also do it at the same time as Prime 95, just to keep we want the heat within the system to be at its worst, so that's why we run them concurrently. And the GPU temperature after 30 minutes, the highest temperature, 52 degrees C. That is absolutely brilliant. That's what you would expect when you're going for an AIO cooled GPU. 52 degrees is absolutely excellent in my opinion. For instance, like a Gigabyte Gaming OC or Vision OC, they tend to be around 74 to 75 degrees C in the same sort of test. So you're getting a 20 degree drop in temperature. That's real good, and this is pretty much on the level of a custom loop, if not better. So you really are getting that primo performance there from this AIO liquid cooled EVGA graphics card. So pretty impressive indeed, wasn't it? And then we've also obviously gone through all the gaming benchmarks as well. So we've got nice high FPS in Fortnite and COD Warzone. Even on the high settings, it's not going to sweat, is it? I mean, it's a real good system. We also got a pretty good result in Red Dead Redemption 2's benchmark. That was like 191 average. That's real nice, because that's quite an intensive benchmark. So that's a really, really good result. Overall, what did I think about the build process? So this was not a simple build compared to the ones that I normally do, because an air-cooled GPU is just easy to slot it in, but with the water cooling you have to think a bit more about where you're placing the radiator. And that's one of the reasons why we had to change from the Fantex P400A to this Cooler Master TD500 case. Because in the TD500 you can mount the 360mm liquid cooler on the top of the case, whereas with the Fantex you'd have to mount it on the front, and then that would mean you'd have to put the AIO from the GPU on the top, and it would look really gross. There'd just be cables like intersecting everywhere. It would look completely disgusting. So that's why we dropped that. But with the TD500, you got your 360mm in the top, and then we could run the AIO loop down towards the bottom of the 3 front fans there. Don't worry, don't get on your hobby horse with your Gamers Nexus references, because actually if there's going to be any air in this system it will still be in the radiator because that's higher than the pump, so it's absolutely fine. And having that extra airflow from the front fans going through the radiator probably did contribute to those low temperatures as well. I did though had to tie down with quite a long cable tie the AIO hoses, because they would just flop around otherwise, and I think it looks much neater having sort of taped them down like that, if you like. One of the things I didn't like about the EVGA graphics card here is the way that they handled the PWM fans. When you're spending this much on a graphics card, come on guys, sort this out. Rather than have it integrated within the sleeving of the water cooling, or already attached to the side of it, or something more elegant, it's just another PWM cable that just hangs out of the graphics card, and to me that is just not acceptable. And then hooking that up to the fans that are on the liquid cooler part of it was really a pain in the butt, because the cables that come off the fans are very, very short. So I had to get a couple of extenders, and I had to do quite a good job of trying to tuck all these cables away so that you couldn't see them. And that's one of the things I didn't quite like about this graphics card. And it's always the same with these AIO-cooled graphics cards. They never seem to find an elegant way to do the fans and the PWM control. I just think it's a bit of an oversight, really. But you can't argue with results, I suppose. The temperature was very low. I just wish they'd thought about it a bit more. I also would have liked it if they'd put a bit more effort into the aesthetic of the card. It looks quite nice in this build because it's a black build, and the RGB it's not, absolutely overflowing with RGB, so you don't really need to have the graphics card to come up to that level of RGB. But it'd be nice to have a bit more of something of a unique style rather than being the same as the other EVGA graphics cards. But really, at this point, I'm really picking at clutching at straws, aren't I? That's the saying. Anyway, overall, really impressed with this build. I think it's really good. The performance is excellent, and I think, considering you've got so many hoses going everywhere, I think I've managed to make it look pretty tidy as well. I'd be proud to have this on my desk, and I think the RGB looks great. It's all controlled with Dragon Center, so there you go. I've run out of things to say, guys. I really, really have. It's a great machine, looks good, and is available at JCPC Customs if you want it. So I'd like to hear your thoughts below in the comments. Always like to see those. Like, comment, do all the YouTube stuff. I'm not going to go through it all because I cannot be bothered. And I'll see you in the next video. Arrivederci, my babies.